podcast. Come take this walk with me.
Welcome back to the Three Parallels podcast with your host, the Brother Dr. Jason Branch, a show where we rediscover who we were, embrace who we are, and make room for who we're trying to become. That is you. You are in the right place at the right time. Because on today's show, I'm bringing family, baby. And y'all know when I bring family, we're going to cut up. We're going to have a good time. We're going to do what we do because this is what we do. Coming to you live from Gator University and Battlecast Studios. Where's Battlecast Studios? Today, we are on the beautiful campus of Stillman College. HBCU, baby, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, because the guests I'm bringing on today, we have a relationship, a friendship, a connection for 26 years. This is my brother from another mother. And this guy, I got to talk about him, okay? I got to give y'all love on the person I'm bringing in because to me, he represents love. He represents family. He represents faith. He represents football and fitness. He represents so many different things. And we've been connected since we were kids, I would say, in undergrad, all the way to now. And we've evolved over the years, and now I'm business partners, professionals, family men, fathers, husbands. We're doing all these things in our own lane, doing our own thing. And I'm bringing to the show to give you some insight on how to become him, because this guy represents him. I'm talking about the one, the only, Eric McCalpine. Welcome to the show, baby.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Jay Branch, what's going on, man? Excuse me, Dr. Branch. AKA Jay Branch. What's going on, man?
It's family. Man, you know, it's family. So now we know, everybody know I'm a doctor, so we can move on. We can just do us. I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed to have you on the show. I appreciate the love. Appreciate you being here. And I got to tell the story because the story relates to the parallels. The story relates to the breadcrumbs and the ripples. And the story relates to us connecting back in the fall of 2000. You were at camp at Stillman. I was at University of West Alabama, and we played together. Like, we came through the ranks together. And that was then. Like, our goals, our dreams were very different then than they are now. And here we are, 20 plus years in our career, and we're back full circle doing some of the similar things despite the work that we do in our profession. But the entrepreneurship, the podcast space, the content creation space, we're in the same lane, doing the same thing. I'm curious to know the parallels, who you were, who you are becoming. How do we get here? I would love to hear your perspective.
Hey, Jay, first off, do not ever tell anybody again that we met in 2000, man. Now you're making me seem like I'm old, man. You know, you're making me seem like I'm old.
We seasoned.
Yeah, man. But listen, you're absolutely correct, man. So, Jason, first off, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the Three Parallels podcast, man. I've been watching the work that you've been doing from afar and up close and personal, man. So I want to tell you, as a brother, thank you for what you do, bringing these conversations to the community, because this is something we'll need it. Keep on doing what you're doing, man, because you are truly, you know, showcasing that you are, and not only you, but so many other people are him and her and them, and it all comes back to us, man. So keep doing what you're doing. But
Thank you.
You're correct, man.
I accept my flowers. I don't mind taking them, okay? Because we both got the emotional intelligence to give and receive, which is a big deal. And I need the listeners to know this is what it means for us to be who we are. It's human, it's honest, it's authentic, and it's love. And I told y'all what he's going to bring. He already started, okay? He already started.
Yeah. But let's go back, man. You said we met on the campus of Stillman College, University of West Alabama, where we both were initiated into the greatest fraternity of all times, the Brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So shout out to all of the bros. But where I am today, man, I'm a 20-year veteran in corporate America with corporate America sales experience spanning over the Southeast region. I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I'm the youngest son, the youngest child of Rose and Joe McCalpine. So I got to give a shout out to my parents. I'm Shay's husband, and I'm Aaron's dad, and I'm a friend to so many others, man.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for that intro. And this was something I didn't know about you. And I feel like for both of us where we are now, learning more about each other in different ways, it makes sense to me now, you being the youngest of your siblings, of who you were in undergrad. Because for those who don't know, Eric has always been a leader. To me, just always mature, always a leader. He didn't do what everybody else did. He walked his own lane. And I didn't know why. Like, man, you just always stood out. Because for me, even as a freshman, you as a senior, like just your mind, your mindset and how you carried yourself. And now it makes sense all these years later, being the youngest of having so many people around, but you just carried yourself differently. I'm curious to know that level of maturity and you just did not follow the crowd. You kind of walked your own lane. Where did that come from? And you still manage that to this day.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you for that, man. So one of the things I've always tell people, being the youngest of seven, I grew up. My parents were, my parents were like seasoned when they had me. My dad was like 39. My mom was 37. So you think about it, they were close to being in their 40s. My sisters, there was about a 20-year age gap between us. So I grew up as the youngest of seven. So I grew up hanging around a lot of older, mature people all the time. With that, my dad was always active in my sisters' lives, and I grew up a Girl Scout, son. Right, my dad would always be the Girl Scout dad for my sisters, and I just grew up in that environment. Being in the South, I grew up in the church, being active in the church, so always being there to participate in the Easter programs, Christmas programs, Sunday schools, Crusaders, and things like that. So always having a lot of seasoned people pouring into me. And also I've seen a lot of mistakes happen before me. And I promised myself that I never wanted to repeat some of those mistakes. I grew up and I always had three goals, Jason, that I wanted to accomplish in life. I wanted to go to an HBCU. I wanted to play edge and I wanted to play football. Those were the three goals that I had in life. And I wanted to accomplish all of those. And I wanted to make sure that whatever I did, I wanted to make my parents proud. And that was something that always burned up on the inside of me, is to make my parents proud about the things that I've done. And that just kind of drove my North Star to make sure that I was able to accomplish those things. And even today, those are some of the things that I continue to strive to do. But now the people that I want to make proud have expanded. I want to make my wife proud. I want to make my daughter proud. And I want to make all the people that's in my community, whether it's, my friends, my family, coworkers, or people at my church. I want to make people proud that are around me. So if I have those people that I'm trying to make proud, it helps me govern some of the things that I do or some of the things that I don't do, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And speaking of that, you've had this amazing career, amazing trajectory where it just seems like from the outside looking in, you always had it together. You always knew what you wanted to do. You had goals, dreams, and you worked towards it and you got it done. How have you been able to maintain this? And is it as easy or does it look as good on the outside, on the inside as it does on the outside?
Hey, so one of the things that I've learned over time growing up is you don't want people to see you sweat. You work in the dark, you keep your emotions to yourself. And trust me, man, I've had good days and I've had bad days. I've had wins and I've had losses. And I've had major setbacks in my life and in my career that I've kept on the inside and I've dealt with. And, dude, I'm in sales. I do corporate sales. So if you know anything about sales, you have to swing and swing and swing and shoot your shot as often as you can. And you miss a lot more than you make. So when you think about the emotional roller coasters of having setbacks, that's something that I deal with all the time. And have my dark days. But people that are extremely close to me, like my wife and some of my close friends, have seen the dark side of Eric. And they've seen me practicing in the dark. They've seen the disappointments that I've dealt with. But when I come out, I'm able to make sure that I'm able to project well. Well, Jason, now that we're in our 40s, I've taken that mask off, man. I've taken that mask off. And I've come to accept who I am, but I'm also come to accept to share who I am with others, because there's so many other people that are suffering, dealing with things in silence, and they don't have an opportunity to express it. And when they don't have an opportunity to express some of the setbacks and disappointments that they have, it takes them down a dark path, whether it's drug, alcohol, social isolation, or giving up before it's too soon. So now, man, back then, yeah, I appreciate you for the compliment to say that it all looks easy, but it's never been easy.
If you could, man, thank you for sharing your truth, because I'm hearing two different worlds, again, parallels all day long, where there was a point in time in your life, and I think this is probably common for many of us as Black men, where we chose to wear the mask, or we had to wear the mask, or the mask was there for protection, safety, whatever the case. But there was a time where you wore the mask and then you shifted to, I'm not wearing it anymore. I'm choosing to be different. So if you could tell us about why we as Black men mask up and your transition to be able to take your mask off.
Well, when you think about why we've masked up, we've always been taught that way. Show up, set up, and perform. We've always been taught to do more, say less. We've always been taught to be, it's better to be asked up than to be asked down. There's so many cultural things that we've been taught as a kid, and you take those cultural things that we've been taught as a kid onto adulthood. And we've never been taught the transition from childhood to adulthood. The reasons that your parents have always told you, don't you see grown folks talking, sit down, But now as an adult, I need to have the spirit of curiosity so that when I see that people are successful, to ask questions. We haven't been taught that. And as I gotten older, I've decided that, hey, let me open up and share around who I am. The other part that's been instrumental in, is me opening up about just life in general is, again, you and I are brothers. I also have a separate set of brothers. As you said, part of my background and part of the things that I've done in life is being a high school and a collegiate athlete. I've got my brothers with the Tony Dixon and Friends podcast, whether it's Eric McCalpine, Kelf Bailey, and Tony Dixon. And we have a podcast that we talk about male vulnerability and breaking mental glass ceilings. One of the situations that happened, Tony and I met back in 1997 on the campus of Stillman College in a program called Upward Bound. This was a program for first generation college students. I looked at Tony the way a lot of people looked at me. You're a 6'2", 225, athlete, and you get a Division I scholarship to go to the University of Alabama, second round draft pick to go to the Dallas Cowboys and play for America's team. It was about 2 or 3 years ago, he decided to open up and said that, hey, through that process, coming from a small town in West Alabama, where the population was around 2,000 people, he didn't understand how to work with the lights of Bryant-Denny Stadium, and he didn't understand how it was and the pressure that it carried to have the star on the side of your head like the Dallas Cowboys. He contemplated suicide. He took himself into, substance abuse, getting into alcohol and so many other things. And I looked up to him, and he called me and he said, hey, Eric, I want to start a podcast. I want to open up and share my experience. Would you be a part of that journey with me? So he took the flag and he carried it first. But once he carried the flag, it forced me to open up. And it forced other people in my community to open up. So if I can give, I know you said you don't give homework assignments, you give life assignments.
Yes, indeed.
If I can give someone our first life assignment for the day, I would challenge anybody, regardless of sexuality, race, or creed, to create a community of vulnerability so that you can surround yourself with people that are willing to open up and talk to you and allow you to talk to them. And that's what we did, man. And since we started that process, man, it's been super fulfilling because we've been able to open up and share. And other people have been inspired to open up and share.
Man, that's powerful. Thank you so much. Big shout out, Tony Dixon. Big shout out to your podcast and all the work that y'all doing. And what you're talking about speaks volumes to impact, legacy, exposure. Because your mentor, somebody you looked up to, decided to be vulnerable with you, which speaks volumes to him as a person. He didn't have to do that, but he did. And that vulnerability allowed you to be vulnerable, and it opened up a whole new world. And now y'all sharing it with the world, literally. So yeah. I'm curious, because I'm sure that was work for you too, to open up, to take the mask off, to be vulnerable. And especially, again, for us, and I think back to West Alabama and Stillman College days, there was no vulnerability whatsoever. There was no emotional intelligence whatsoever. Because all day. And even for us, there was love and there was competition where it was kind of like family. Like when it comes to family, like we do what we do. We can talk about each other, but we don't let nobody else talk about us. but we
That's it.
had that love, yet competition, but it was friendly. But we had an ability to have this idea of what it means to be a man. And to me, who we are now changes the culture of that. Where did you find your truth in it's okay to be vulnerable? It's okay to be emotionally intelligent. It's okay to talk about your truth. Because I'm sure there was some work involved in order for you to become this version of you.
Well, it's funny that you say, where did I find it? It's funny how life leaves breadcrumbs.
Mm,
It's funny how situations sprinkle along the way and you get exposed to things over time and you use them as a callback. You use them as a callback in muscle memory.
mm,
So Jason, around the year of 2014, I was promoted to lead a group of sales partners within my company.
mm,
I just came off of my team I was a sales rep for a major Fortune 500 company. And I just came off of the 3 back-to-back team of the year. So I'm around a bunch of studs, man, around a bunch of dogs. I mean, guys that really want to get out and get it. I was called to be promoted to move to a different region. And when I went to that group, I expected everything to be like where I came from.
mm,
You expect everybody to be as hungry as you are. You expect everybody to be as driven as you are. I would go home, talk to my wife, and I would say, man, they don't get it. They're not trying. They don't want to be number one. They don't want to make money. They don't want to do certain things. And my wife looked at me. Eric, not everybody thinks like you.
yes, indeed.
Not everybody thinks like you. What do you mean not everybody thinks like me? She explained to me that everybody had a different purpose of what they were trying to get out of life. Everybody wanted something different. Fast forward to recent years, I realized that not everybody thinks the same. So what made me decide to start opening up is because I'm interested in how Dr. Jason Branch thinks. I'm interested in your lived experience. I'm interested in not arguing. I'm interested in learning. And the more I decided to lean into you so that you can open up and become vulnerable to me, the more I'm able to open up and lean in and become vulnerable to you. And it starts at home, with my wife. I asked my wife, how was her day? And I really mean that. I want to find out what situation has she gone through in life. When I get to my sisters and brothers, I want to find out what things are they dealing with when we're talking about our parents and so many other people. My parents were born in the 40s. I was born in the 80s. You think about the different background, cultural norms that we have at that time. I'm from the South. I work for a major corporation and I interact with people from the Northeast, the Midwest, and different cultures. Why do you think the way that you do? And the more I find out that people all have the same fundamental principles in life, we want to be happy, healthy, and reasonably prosperous. As long as I know we can center there, it's easy to open up. It's easy to open up.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Man, listen, you teaching, okay? You are teaching. And for guests like you that come in here and turn tables over, give all this knowledge, all this love, I kick folks off like this, okay? I'm finna call you Uber. I'm finna get you
All
Uber,
right,
get you
man.
out of here because I love it. Because now
Thank
we're finna
y'all.
now we're finna go deeper because these are the conversations needed and necessary, especially for us as Black men. And one thing that there's several things, but one thing that I really love and value is your commitment, your dedication, your consistency. Because I have to highlight it because, in my opinion, from my experience, it's not the norm for a Black man such as yourself, born and raised in the South, the youngest, and you have a long-standing career with one job. Like, I remember we was an undergrad. I'm graduating in '05, and I remember you talking about Centos then. You know what I'm saying? We an undergrad, and you still
Yeah.
there. And then to be married and have a child, and you're still there because for our age now, a lot of people we know, a lot of guys we know, they're on this divorce or a second marriage, a third marriage. You've been consistent. You've had this long-standing commitment to yourself, your family, and you've maintained. And I'm proud of that. And I got to highlight it
Thank you,
here because
man.
it's not the norm. How have you been able to do that personally and professionally? Because that speaks to your consistency as well.
Yeah. Well, I can't do it alone. One, I have to give a shout out to my parents. So being able to witness firsthand the 55-year marriage that my parents have had, they've demonstrated commitment. Both my parents retired from their job after both over 40 years, where they've had the same job for my entire lifetime. So they've demonstrated commitment.
Yeah.
So that was something that I've seen. When I got married to my wife, that was one of the things that we've committed to, is that at the end of the day, we're still going to come back no matter how it turns out. We're here, we're stuck with each other, we're going to fight it through. But here's something that I've also likened it to, Jason. Here's where the mask is coming off. I've likened it to fear, to fear to change, from fear of the unknown, to fear of starting over. I know the company that I work for today, but I also don't know what else is out there on the other side. I know what my wife and I have. I know what I've got here. And if I decide that, hey, there's something that she's done or something that I've done that make us upset with each other and we want to walk away, well, guess what I walk to? Something that's going to be worse. So since we're in this space, now I also have to say that I believe that God has ordained, all of our lives to have a certain path. So we have God in our home. But I also know that, what I'm saying, my wife and I have a commitment and an understanding that we know what we have, but we don't know what we're going to get. And it can always get worse. It can always get worse. No matter what it is, it can always get worse. Jason, as you mentioned, I'm a fitness guru. So one of the things that I oftentimes tell myself while I'm running, you're already in pain. You might as well get a reward for it. You're already in pain. You might as well get a reward for it. So while we're going through things on our job, you might as well fight it through. While you're going through things on your marriage, you might as well fight it through. But you don't have to do it alone.
Oh, wait, man. Listen, you finna go. Finna get you. We just getting started, man. We just getting started. You don't have to do it alone. Again, what we're talking about is the antithesis of what we see and what we hear, specifically with Black men. And what you're saying to me is so powerful because it's giving a different perspective of what it means to be who we are. And again, going back to undergrad days when we were children, we were kids in school.
Yeah.
It was about the individual, who's the best, and it's this and it's that, it's me. And now this new wave of energy is like, no, I need a team. I need people. I need help. How did you develop this sense of understanding of collectivity, community, and knowing that it does take a village? How did you get to this place?
But Jason, again, like I mentioned to you, life leaves crumbs in brief description. You just have to be attentive enough to catch it. One of the things that we used to say when we were going through our process, you finished this line for me. He's not heavy
because
he's my brother.
All day. He's
not heavy. He's my brother. So if that's something that was good enough to take us through the process of joining Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, why do we leave those principles there?
Woo. It's too much. It's too much.
On your job.
Come on.
On your job. Of course, we're competitors. Dude, I do corporate sales for a living.
Yeah.
I have a very competitive job, whether it's with our outside competition or us internally competing. But in some cases, he's not heavy. He's my brother. If you go back to the biblical explanation of it, the Bible tells you what? Iron sharpens iron. You have to put yourself around other well-trained, talented individuals, and that'll allow you to get the best out of you.
I love it. I love it, man. You are teaching, and also thank you for being a fan of the show, because you understand breadcrumbs, you understand ripples, and you're absolutely right. And we don't think about that stuff, because even with the fraternity, we are trained to be this level of men, being responsible and respectful, giving back, serving. And you're absolutely right. We were taught a lot of these different principles that may go by the wayside over time, but you can always go back to them. And it sounds like for you, you listen to those things and you apply them to your life. And that's what's been able to give you this success up until this point. I'm curious to know your transition because even with your job, with your role being a competitor, you've been able to find balance where it's not all about my job. It's not all about this or all about that. You found some balance with managing many things at one time. And in addition, I definitely would love for you to spend some time talking about moving into this world of content creation, moving into this podcast space and collaborating with others. That's very different than the corporate structure. How have you been able to be successful and maintain both?
So when it comes down to being able to balance and maintain a lot of different things, one of the unique things about that is just in my life, as I mentioned to you, I grew up the youngest of seven, you know what I'm saying, with the 20-year age gap. My sisters and brothers were having, kids. So I've got nieces and nephews that are close to my age as well. So my life has been something that I would describe as being big, not big as in like things, but just big as in being inclusive, big Thanksgivings, big Christmases. So when it comes to big, you have to be able to touch and satisfy everybody. Being the youngest, I'm oftentimes seen as the peacemaker, the one that has to try to satisfy everybody. So by doing that as a person growing up, I bring some of those things into my work, into my church, and into my community. And that starts to bring you out and to make you open up and understand there's a place. But the other part behind that too, Jason, is I've learned to find time for myself.
Ooh, hold on real quick.
For myself.
To the listeners, especially to the men listening. Eric is finna put your own game, okay? And I'm an advocate, I'm a fan, and get your notebooks. If you don't have your notebook, this is the time to get it. The Gator Skills Journal is available as well. But this piece that you're talking about is really important because many times we don't give ourselves permission to do what you've been able to do. So please feel free, dive in.
Yeah. So everybody is going to have some type of hobby, something that you're interested in. I know that you're a therapist, you're a doctor, you promote therapy. I've never sat in front of a therapist and a chair, but I've done therapeutic activities. Mm-hmm. I've done therapeutic activities. Go back to one of the things that you had mentioned to me in my description, fitness and football. That's one of the things that feeds me. It feeds my energy. Being a public person, I'm accustomed to being around a lot of people. But if you ever catch me in the gym, I always work out by myself because that's the time that I go into solitude. I go into prayer. I go into meditation. Growing up as an athlete, I'm trying to be big, strong, fast, want to compete, show you that I can outlift you. But now when I go into my physical fitness background, I'm going into a place that I find solitude. I find peace. I detox. I need to mental map my day. And I find a place for everything. Now, that hasn't always been easy, Jason. That hasn't always been easy. Yeah. There's been times that I've overcommitted to work. There's been times that I've overcommitted to my family. There's been times that I've overcommitted to a certain activity, whatever it is that I've been a part of. There's been times that I've been called out, and there's been times that I've seen things leave out the back door because of my overcommitment in another area. And I've just grown and matriculated through life to learn to pay attention, but also to feed myself because I need that time to go back and do a personal self-audit of my own life and my own day.
Yes. So curious, because what happens for a lot of guys who want to do exactly what you're talking about, there's this heavy burden called selfish, where they feel selfish for working out or taking care of themselves. How do you overcome, or what would you share with the listeners related to this belief about being selfish by taking care of yourself?
Be transparent. For the people that you're being selfish away from, that you're isolating, there's no problem with you sitting down and explaining to that person, activity, or group, this is what I'm doing, and this is the reason why. My wife, My wife knows that, I'm committed to, I work out every morning, 7 days a week, a couple of days I do different things, but I go and work out every morning. But I'm also able to come home and produce receipts from my selfishness because she sees the positive energy that I'm bringing back to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're going out to be selfish and do this thing that you call self-care, what's the positive receipts that you're getting from it? I'm not talking about what you do or what your listeners and viewers are doing, but if you call yourself getting self-care because you want to go and take a couple of shots, that may not be self-care. That may be, self-damage because you're taking shots, going back doing drugs and alcohol, and now that's going to turn you into a different person.
Powerful.
The things that I'm doing that are turning me into a different person, I would say are turning me into a different person for the better.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you could, because this is now we're personal, we're in the basement. Again, your discipline, for you working 7 days a week and like you are very conscious of your health, no drinking, no smoking, not really your thing, none of that. Like you're very disciplined. How can someone get to that level or even decide to practice things differently? Again, you're talking about those results because I'm sure what you put in, you're going to get out. How did you get to this place and how would you help the listeners who may not be able to do what you're doing right now?
So when you go back and think about it, Jason, not everybody has, but a lot of people have always had a community. You've always been in a community, but in some cases you may have to relocate and move.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many times have you moved with your job, but every place you moved, you found a community?
Absolutely.
What do I mean by the community? As you elevate, you may need to put away some of those old friends that were feeding into some of those old things that you were doing and find a new community, a new battle buddy. I've got the 5 a.m. club, a group of guys that I chat with every morning after we do our workouts. We're all over the country, but we have a text group that's our accountability partners. You can find a group of accountability partners that can help support the positive change that you're trying to make. But too often, we find ourselves around people that are treating us as if we're in a vacuum and they're sucking us down because you're elevating and they don't want you to disconnect. You're absolutely correct. I've elevated. Now you can either come on the elevator with me or I'll wave at you as I go up. And you have to make that decision in your life, man.
Oh man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm gonna wave at you on my way up, baby, because I'm going up. I'm going up. I ain't
Come
got
on,
no choice.
we're going up, man. But Jason, but you think about some of the things that we've done. Being one of one in some of the communities that we find ourselves in, being one of few in some of the rooms that we find ourselves in. You have to find a way to get comfortable with being your true, authentic self. Now, that I want to be clear, that is not something that has always come easy. The fact that I'm disciplined with my workout, the fact that I don't drink or don't smoke. Again, I mentioned to you, I work for a major corporation. Some of our after hours events come with free tickets to the bar for drinks, for alcohol. There's been points in my life, I'm putting my mask back on now, Jason, that I've been uncomfortable because, there's microaggressions that come around to say, hey, you don't drink. Hey, you don't do certain things. And over time, it wasn't easy, but go back what I told you. You have to stay committed to what God has ordained in you so that you can see it all the way through. And once I was able to stick through some of those uncomfortable feelings, once I was able to stick through some of those microaggressions, you're not going to disrespect me. I want to be clear on that. I want to be clear so it ain't no mix up in my makeup. But there's going to be times that you're going to be uncomfortable, but you have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
That's phenomenal. Next level. Next level. And I want to continue this conversation because we talked about it offline, especially connected to the Destination Helpers men's group being one of one. And especially for you and I in the structure that we are at the top of our game. And the higher we go, the wider it gets, no shade, no disrespect, but this is common for a lot of black men, for a lot of people of color that's in management, administration, high positions. How do you manage these moments when you are the only one, when you and how do you give yourself permission to be you and not worry or overthink about what people are thinking, or how to move differently? Because to me, that's an art, that's a skill set that you have to be authentic in these places and spaces where you may be the only one. How do you do it?
So, Jason, that's an art, that's a skill set, but that's also uncomfortable.
Mm.
That's also, what I'm saying, fear with that. That's
Mhm.
also struggle with that you'll have to figure out a way to, be your true authentic self. In some cases, you need to do exactly what your parents taught you. Listen first and speak later, so that I can
Mhm.
find out who you are and find out, am I safe to speak here? Sometimes I may need to find out, how long am I going to be in this scenario? Is it worth me saying something right now? Or is this something that I just need to, be patient with and realize that, okay, this time, this season will pass and I don't have to take on every fight. But on the other side, one of the things that happened to me earlier on in my life, my mentor was the former CEO for for one of the state of Alabama's largest mental health facilities. And what he did for me earlier on, he gave me he used to tell me something all the time. He said, Eric, come go with me. What he
Mm.
did was he exposed me at an early age on how to go into rooms and how to maneuver. So I had an opportunity to watch him up close and personal as he was a beacon in the community. Now that I've been able to climb the corporate ladder, I take that same opportunity to go back and give to others that may not have the opportunity. But in order to have that opportunity, Jason, you have to be, and I want to share this with all of your listeners, you have to keep the main thing and be good at your day job.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
have to be good at your day job. Because I've proven to be an asset and not a liability, it gives me the opportunity to bring my true authentic self into this space. But
Mhm.
oftentimes we lead with authenticity, but not with success.
Mm. Mm. Woo. Break that down. You got to break it down.
Sometimes I want you to, sometimes I want you to let me be me and do what I want to do, but I'm not good at what it is that you need me to do.
Come on. Come
I'm in
on.
sales. I
Mhm.
have to show that I'm able to produce revenue.
Mhm.
In order for me to have a voice, I have to make sure that I keep the main thing the main thing. Now that can
Mhm.
go to any type of discipline that you have, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's you being in academia, whether it's me being in corporate, whatever it is. You have to make sure that you're an asset and not a liability. If you're doing research in academia, how many how many publications have you produced? How many additional degrees, hours, or whatever the expectations of you have you produced to add value to the main thing? Now that you've shown that you've added value, now you're able to have your authentic voice. I've done the opposite. I want to
Mm.
be clear, Jason. I want
Okay.
to be clear.
And I
I've done
appreciate
the
it.
opposite.
Yeah.
I spoke first and produced later before,
Mm. Mhm.
and I've learned from it.
Yeah.
And I've had people to pull me to the side and say, hey, put your head down, do your job, and then we'll circle back in this conversation later.
Yeah.
I've done both sides.
Yeah. Powerful, man. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this. You just gave somebody a breadcrumb. You just gave somebody a ripple. You just gave somebody a different perspective to look at life. And I agree with you 100%. It's at work. What are you doing? Are you doing your job? Are you doing your job well? And I want to continue this conversation connected to something you mentioned a little bit earlier offline related to being on both sides of the ball, being on both sides of the field. If you could share more this analogy related to football of playing or being on both sides.
Yeah. So you talked about the background of the name of your podcast is the three parallels, right? Who you were, who you are, and who you're trying to become. And one of the things that I know when you think about those three parallels, it can apply on both sides. Oftentimes when you think about who you were, who you are, and who you're trying to become, you think about, starting from nowhere, having nothing, getting something, and then going off and being successful. But it can also be starting with a lot, losing it, and losing everything. When you go back and think about, Jason, I don't know if you're a football fan or if your listeners are avid football fans. I am. Super Bowl 51, February 2017. It was the Atlanta Falcons versus the New England Patriots. I'm not a fan of either team, but just a fan of the game and a fan of the Super Bowl. It was in the third quarter. The Falcons were up 28-3. The Falcons were up 28-3 in the third quarter. And you know how on television they always show like the chances of winning and losing and all the percentages. At one point, it was a 98% chance that the Atlanta Falcons were going to win their Super Bowl. A lot of people cut their televisions off. A lot of people went to bed. A lot of people walked away, got more wings and stuff like that. Fast forward, the New England Patriots came back and scored 28 unanswered points to beat the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl. Think about it. Who you were, who you are, and who you're becoming. Who you were, it's up to you and your listeners to answer that question. Are you someone who is behind? Are you someone that feels defeated? Are you someone that is losing? Or are you someone that's thriving? Are you someone that's extremely successful? Who you are is how you maintain that position. The Atlanta Falcons were ahead. When you're ahead, what can you do? Can you celebrate? Can you get overconfident? Can you get lazy? Can you get distracted? And the Atlanta Falcons end up being the Super Bowl losers. 28-3 with a 98% chance to win, and they gave it up. The New England Patriots were down 28-3. They were down 3-28, and guess what? They had 2% chance of winning, but even with that 2% chance of winning, they stuck to the fundamentals that they knew. They believed in themselves. They've never given up. And they came through and they ended up becoming the Super Bowl champion. Jason, I've been on both sides of that coin before. And when you think about who you were, who you are, and who you're becoming, that's an ever-evolving thing. That's something that I've seen in my life. That's something that I've seen in a month. That's something that I've seen in a year. Again, with my job, we report annual sales. Just like football, we report in quarters. There's been quarters that I've been behind. But what did I do? I knew who I was on the inside of me, and I knew the work that I put in, and I stuck with it. And I end up coming back and winning. I've been on the other side that I've gotten ahead. I started showboating. I ended up being extra celebratory. I thought it was all about me. And I ended up losing. I ended up losing out on promotions. I ended up losing out on sales. I ended up losing out on opportunities, all because I lost focus. But I ended up humbling myself. I ended up staying focused. And I ended up doing what I knew I was supposed to do, surrounding myself with mentors and coaches, and I ended up winning. You think about the Super Bowl 51, who are you? Who are your listeners? Are you the Falcons, 28-3, with a 98% chance of winning the Super Bowl and you lost? Or are you the Patriots that had that I've got to do it, I'm going to stick with it attitude and fought until the whistle blew?
Powerful, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for all this. And before we get out of here, that is so powerful because there's so many levels. There are so many parallels. There's so many things that you can take from the story that you just shared. And expectantly to the listeners, because we don't hope only got Obama in office. Expectantly for the listeners, they're taking your story, your experience, your truth, your wisdom, and applying it to their lives so they can become the best version of themselves possible as well. So before we get out of here, I want to step off into the kitchen because it's going to get real hot. And in this kitchen, I got some questions related to your experiences from birth to where you are now, because you've seen a lot, you've done a lot. I'm curious to know, what have you learned over these years about people and about yourself?
What I've learned about people is that something that stuck with me, as I mentioned before, not everybody thinks like you. We all don't think the same. And as I've gotten older, I realized that we all are different. We're all designed to be different, but I've also learned to lean into the uniquenesses that we all have. Now, what that does for me, Jason, from a mental health perspective, it allows me to not be so defensive and so confrontational when people think differently than I think. It allows me to lean in and accept them for who they are.
Yeah, that's powerful, especially in the South. No shade, no disrespect, but especially in the South, there's a difference of
Absolutely.
opinions and race and culture. And like this knowledge that you're sharing, this wisdom that you're sharing can change the outcome of somebody's life.
Come
To be,
on.
yeah, like to be able to listen and not take it personal, not get defensive, but to hear a different perspective, because that's the issue. That's the conflict that we have more often than not. I expect everybody to be like me. I expect everybody to think like me. And that's not true. So I appreciate you
Yep.
sharing that truth. The next one, I'm curious to know a word, phrase, memory, or moment that has stuck with you personally or professionally.
One of the proudest moments that I've had in my life, and there's been a lot of proud moments, but to this day, one of the proudest moments that I've had is being able to baptize my daughter. I'm an
Mm,
officer at my church, and being able to share that moment to baptize my daughter is something that I will remember forever.
that's powerful. Oh man, beautiful. Listen, I'm getting all emotional over here. Listen, we ain't come here for this. We ain't come here. All this emotional intelligence on this podcast. It's too much. It's too much. So you gave life work earlier, and now I want you to give some more. Because on this show, as you said, we don't give homework. Homework, you take home, do it, and never remember it. Life work,
Right.
you will not only remember, you will experience it, because the things that you share can help somebody pivot. What's something you want to offer to the listeners to help them pivot?
Man, what I would suggest that you go back and take a self audit of your life. You go back and take a self audit of your life where for all aspects, wherever you think that you deserve to audit, whether it's in your fitness, whether it's in your finance, whether it's in your friendship, whether it's in your spirituality, wherever that is, go back and take a self audit. Take out a piece of paper, cut it down the middle, and list out all the positives, list out all the negatives. And within 7 days, don't do it immediately. Put it down and come back in 7 days and pick it up. And if you still feel the same with the positives and the negatives, attack whichever is your weakness and go back and make that change. If it's fitness, again, go and join a gym. If it's your spirituality, just pray. If it's your finances, put down the Starbucks, whatever it is, just do a self audit of yourself. The other thing I would offer your listeners, Jason, is life is too short. Pick up your cell phone right now, text a friend or a family member, someone that has been on your mind, and just check on them. Just check on them. You good, bro? You good, sis? I was just thinking about you, because life is too short, man, for people to hold grudges and for us to sit back and say, hey, I wish I would have, should have, and you didn't. So at this very moment, take the opportunity to reach out to any of your friends or loved ones, put all your differences aside, and just let them know that you're thinking about them. Because that simple text message could be the difference between them having a good day and a bad day.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. So now I have a life work question. Because you're a fitness guru expert, would you be interested? Would you be okay with sharing? And this is post show, but sharing a little McAlpin workout plan, like an hour workout that I can share, that I can get from you, share with the listeners, because you know how to do it. Like you have a skill set. And for some of us, and I speak for myself, I go in the gym and
Yeah.
I do whatever I feel like doing. That don't work.
So,
I
so
feel like
Jason,
biceps today. I feel like
listen, there's a couple of things that I would challenge you on, though, man. I'm gonna pivot the conversation
yeah,
just a little bit for you from where we were to where
yeah.
we are. Yesterday, I would tell you to go to Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, get a fitness magazine, and look in there, and you can comb through those pages and find the fitness workout. But here's something that I've done personally myself.
Mhm. Okay.
Here's my personal workout. Chat GPT.
That's real. That's
Chat
real.
GPT. AI is something that can give you a fitness plan. If any of your listeners that are into technology that have Chat GPT, Claude, Copilot, whatever AI tool that they choose to use, you can just go in and say, I am X age. My fitness, I feel that my fitness is here. This is how many days a week that I work out. This is the last time I worked out. This is what my goal is. I'm looking to lose 5 pounds. I'm looking to be consistent. The more, and again, not to promote artificial intelligence, but it's a tool that's here with us today. It's not going anywhere, right? So
Absolutely.
so Jason, if you wouldn't mind, let's stand in it for a little bit. You can put in all of that information in Chat GPT, what your goals are. Now, again, garbage in, garbage out. If you're vague going in, it's going to be vague going out. But put as much information in Chat GPT as you would like to put into it. How many days a week that you want to work out, how long you want to work out, if you have the address and the name of the fitness center that you're using, if you want to work out outside, and say, Chat GPT, produce me a 3-day, 5-day, 7-day fitness program to help me accomplish these goals that I've stated. And you'll be surprised what it spits out.
Man, listen, I'm finna get you your pink slip, okay? You finna go because you just upgraded. Like this is beyond what you would have given because it's so effective, it's so efficient, and it's personalized. Don't get no better than that. Man,
Yeah.
thank you. I love the pivot. I'm here for it. I'm here for all of that because now you just equip the listeners with something they may or may not have known that they can curate for themselves. Like what better fitness plan than that? So thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for all that. Two more questions before
Appreciate
we get you out of here because I know you got to go. And you got a black car, the Uber
it.
black outside. Okay, I'm going to take you to the Clearport.
All right, let's go for it.
So, interesting fact. What is something about you that most people would know, they wouldn't believe, they wouldn't guess?
Well, it depends on where you know me from,
Okay.
because I've got a very, what I would consider simple but complex life. A lot of people that know me from, let's say, from work, they may not realize how committed I am to my church, or they may not realize how committed I am to my family, because in some cases we live life in silos. Some of the friends that I run with may not realize how strong I am and how much I live, and vice versa. Some people may not realize how big my family is, and saying just the diversity and the range of, having a sister and brother that's 20 years older than me. So again, it depends on where you know me from. There's certain parts of my life that you may or may not know about me. But, being a member of the 5 a.m. club, I love working out in the morning, the top of the morning. Some people don't think about it because, as you mentioned, Jason, being one of a few, very few, I would raise my hand and say very few African Americans that we know of have the commitment that I feel that I do to my fitness. Some people don't see that. So again, it depends on where you know me from. You may see me in a very unique space.
Gotcha. Gotcha. This is for me. Curious. Do you still randomly step here and there? Like a little stroll? Do you still do that? Or is it just me?
Hey, that might just be you, man. You got to remember. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you asked a question that some people may not know about me. I'm not bad, but I'm not I was never the brother that had the most rhythm. So when you think about it, when we were in undergrad, we were stepping. I was never the one that was out leading the stroll line. But if you remember where I was always the one that was good at networking. I would set up the parties, I would set up the DJs, and I would be the one that I have the mic and have the party going, man. So maybe that's a little known fact, man. How great of a hype man that I was back in the days of the great Epsilon Nu chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Yes, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Last question. 3 parallels. If you could describe who you were, who you are, who you're becoming, those 3 guys, how would you describe them?
I've been a winner, I've won, and I lost. I've been a loser, I've gained, and I've won. Every aspect of my life has a unique place, and I've been each one of those. I've been someone who's had a lot, and I'm not talking about a monetary. I'm not talking about a monetary value. I'm talking about in relationships. I'm talking about in experience. I'm talking about in notoriety. And I lost it, being on an upward trajectory. And I've been someone who started from behind, had a bad month, had a bad quarter, had a bad situation. I've learned from it, and I ended up winning. So I've been both.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? Also, if people want to connect with you, they want to be a part of the 5 a.m. club, they want to just be in your space, your place, your knowledge, your wisdom, how can people connect with you? How can people download whatever you're putting out?
Man, so a couple of things, man. Thank you. First off, I want to thank you for the opportunity to reconnect with my brother from the Area 5 cluster.
Let's go.
Led by the Delta Phi Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. But Jason, where you can find me today, you can find me on LinkedIn, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me at Eric McCalpine. It's just my name, Eric McCalpine. It's no hidden abbreviations or anything like that. Eric McCalpine is who I am. You can just go to Google. I'm glad to say that my daughter told me that a couple of months ago, and her and her friends were in school and they Googled me. So you can Google me, Eric McCalpine, and I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. The other place that you can find me is being a co-host of the Tony Dixon and Friends podcast. You can check us out on all major platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, the Tony Dixon and Friends. It's just that, Tony Dixon and Friends, where it's 3 guys that sit down, we discuss life, male vulnerability, and try to encourage you to break the mental glass ceilings that you have in your life.
Love it. Thank you so much, man. Words just can't express my excitement, my happiness for this connection. And we are now the people that we looked up to. And big shout out to Area 5, the elite Epsilon Nu chapter, the illustrious Kappa Alpha chapter, the prestigious Pi Delta chapter.
Pi Delta chapter.
All day long. We're the guys now, because a lot of my mentors came from Stillman College, Brother Lockhart, Brother Agason, Brother Bentley. These guys poured into me then, and we're those guys now, man. So I'm proud of you. I'm impressed with you. I'm thankful for us in this relationship, and I'm glad you decided to get on this podcast and share you with the world, with the listeners, whoever here. So thank you, man. Hats off to you. Continue doing the great work that you are doing, and I can't wait to see where you're going to grow next.
Thanks, man.
This has been another episode of 3 Parallels Podcast with your host, the Brother Dr. Jason Branch, a show where we rediscover who we were, embrace who we are, make room for who we're trying to become. If that is you, you are in the right place at the right time. If you don't feel like it, rewind it, play it back. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Much love. Peace.